Hello everyone, it's been a very long time since the last time I did a video or the last time I did a live stream, and I was hoping to do a live stream this weekend, but I had some personal things going on, so and the timing wouldn't be right, and some of the guys in the UK would obviously be asleep. So I'm putting a video out here now. It's just a good excuse for me to go over some of the changes and enhancements that I put into this particular build, and obviously I'll make this build available to a select few out on the forum. But anyway, let's get stuck into this one, and I'll give you a quick overview of some of the some of the fixes. Let me see. So one of the things that was not happening, and if I can pick, let me pick a platform view. Yeah, I think this is a good one. So what was actually happening here was the release date was not being displayed at all. Didn't realize that until last week. So I fixed that, and as you can see, when I was in Capcom Play System here, or even if I pick Arcade, the fallback value was not even being displayed. So anyway, that's fixed. That's a good thing. Let me see if I pick a different platform view. Let me pick, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Let's say Dreamcast or PlayStation 2. Let's see what we've got with big box media overrides. Platforms, fan art, do I have any? Not really. The only fan art I've got is for 3DO. Okay, interesting. Well, let me pick 3DO. And let's go into the editor. Now what was, I've got limited graphics on this PC, but I've got enough to show the issue at hand. So what was happening was that in my big box media overrides, I have images, platforms, I have custom clear logos, as you can see, and represented up here, and let's see, fan art, that's incorrect, it's actually not that one. Let me move this, that's the correct folder. Let me just remove that. And then I've got all these devices here. Now, because they're in the big box media overrides, when this theme is actually published, the content of this overrides folder here will actually be copied forward into your theme. So regardless of some of the platform images that you lifted via Launchbox, they'll be overridden at this level. And I don't know if most of you guys were aware of that. It's certainly not something I put in. It's been available for at least a couple of years, to my knowledge anyway. So that way you can override the platform clear logos with your own custom ones and devices and banners and fan art and all that good stuff. So this is nothing new. I've given you the ability to populate the override media subfolders. But what was going on within the editor and the preview was that the fan art was not being represented. It was not showing up. What else was not showing up? The let's see, the fan art, the clear logos, the banners, devices were not being pulled in at different levels. So if media doesn't exist in your overrides folder, then naturally it should default to the images in the Launchbox folder, and it wasn't doing that. Okay, so for example, if I pick, there you go, because I'd moved the 3DO fan art from fan space art into the correct named subfolder, fan art with no space. As you can see, the 3DO fan art image is now being displayed. Okay, so it was just little things. I mean, obviously if you ran Big Box it would pull it in, but that's not correct from an editor perspective. It really should be showing you basically what Big Box will ultimately display when you run your theme. Okay, so it was just a little thing. The same is true actually if I go into, it doesn't really matter, text filters, I guess. Let's see, text games. Let me pick something that may actually have a lot of fan art. So this has fan art. Granted, it's blurry, but there's obviously something here. And some of the box work was not being displayed either. It wasn't being pulled in. So I had to rewrite the lookup routine to figure out where the files are, and if it's in a match with the name on the left hand side here with the game name, the title, and actually do a lookup to pull in the appropriate image. So I think I've managed to succeed. So if you've been playing around with this editor at all and you've encountered that where you've specified, hey, I want my box art to be here, and box, you know, the box back images and so on and so forth, and they weren't displaying, it wasn't your fault. It was my fault. My lookup routine was not very good. So anyway, that's fixed. Let's see. I'll hop into the editor itself. And one of the things that was brought up on the live stream was the color picker. Critical Sid had mentioned this. So when I right click on this color here, he wanted to be able to, well, he suggested that the WPF colors should actually be displayed in the left hand side, so you can actually see what the colors look like instead of just seeing the color name. So I'd added that not long after the live stream. So as you can see, you know, transparent is transparent. Okay, so that was added. Let me see. If I scroll, oh yeah, and the properties pane here, depending on the resolution of your desktop when you're running the editor, this was being truncated. This is no longer the case. It resizes accordingly, so none of this stuff gets truncated now. and it was Retro 808 that had brought that to my attention. So anyway, that was fixed. Let's see, another thing I had added is small, but so for example, if I click this UI element that's got some shading, shadow, if I click color, I can no longer select gradient. You cannot have a gradient for the shadow, so I've prevented that. So you can only have solid colors, be it a WPF color or using a color dialog and make up your own. Okay, there's just little things. Let's see. Oh yeah, so the image UI element, I've enhanced that. I've got to find one. Image UI element. I guess I can just add one just to demonstrate. So if I add an image, and I'll just put it up here for the time being, and if I point it to, oh lordy, what can I point it to? What would be a good one? I'll go with Wallpaper, and I'll go with platform or playlist, and the fallback will be Rust, and just for grins I'll just fill that space. So what I want to do, this is a game view, so let me pick 3DO. What did I pick? Wallpaper? I don't think. Let me borrow one. Let's just borrow this. And this is in images, wallpaper, yeah. So I'm just borrowing this. So as you can see, I've had this UI image coded to say, based on this particular folder, I want you to display an image based on the playlist or platform associated with this game. Okay, and it's successfully doing that. Now, if I pick a different platform, it didn't find arcade. Okay, so it used the fallback image of Rust, and that was something that Rincewind had requested, to have a fallback image file name specified for the UI, the image UI element. Okay, so that was added. Let's see. Change device UI element to pull directly from the themes folder, or fixed platform, release date removed. Okay, and then we can go into the big one here. So the big one is, and I might as well just add it here. So the big one is from this main menu here, manage external plugins. And this is a request that came from JJ on the forum, the ability to basically utilize external plugins. All right, so what I'm going to do here, there's a particular user control that was developed by Gorilla, and it shows you any connected controllers and their charging state while you're in a given view. So what I'm going to do, I am going to, oh, I was already here. I was going to look at my available themes that I've got on the system. I'm going to pick the last theme that I had developed, and I had utilized one of Gorilla's controls. So I'm going to pick that. I want to pick SlimDX and Gorilla Control. Okay, so it's pulled them both in. However, I only want to do a declaration for the Gorilla BB controls. And what I'm going to do, again, I'm just going to borrow some code here. So I'm just going to pick a view, it doesn't really matter. Alright, go up to the very top where it's got the Gorilla declaration here for the Gorilla BB controls plugin. I'm just going to copy that one line. Go back to here. I'm going to put it here in the declaration. Alright. And there were no resources that I needed for that. I'm just going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go into the editor itself for this particular view, and I want to display the connected controllers, and the only way I can do that is through a piece of user source, and I'm going to call this connected controllers. I'm going to edit. I'm going to go back to my views. And I want to see where it's being used, and here it was being used. Okay, so I'm going to grab that, and again, from this point on, I don't need to reference my old theme. I'm going to paste that one line of code in. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I don't want a margin. I do want an opacity value though. So I'll make it 0.55, and I'm not sure what color that is, and I'm sure that was fine for my original theme. I just want it black, and that's it. Okay, and I'll size it accordingly, and I'm going to place it over here. Move it over there a little bit. So I'm now going to copy this. I'm going to save it. Go into the next view. Edit. I'm going to add user source. I'm going to paste over the top, and it will paste all the properties into that one. Save. And I'm going to repeat this process for the remaining views. User source, paste, save. Next view. Now this is rather boring. User source, paste, save. Almost there. User source, paste, save. User source, paste, save. All right, 3 more to go. Source, paste, save. I don't know why I did that. Paste, save. One more. user source, paste, and save. Okay, so now we're going to publish. Okay, and so what this will do now is with the publish theme, there'll be a plugins folder, which is something that you would normally see, and within it you would have the standard DLLs that you would normally see, but in addition to the two plugins I had added here, these external plugins. Okay, so these would have been added and copied to the destination plugins folder, and because I specified a declaration in here, it would have included this declaration statement in all the XAML source for all the views. Okay, there was no declaration for this one, no resources, so it wouldn't have altered the XAML source code for SlimDX. But SlimDX is actually needed for the Gorilla BB Controls plugin to work, so you need to include that if you wish to use the connected controllers. So anyway, we have the publish theme, and I'll close this and I'll open Big Box. Turn the volume down. All right, cool. Okay, so top left, connected controllers. Okay, so I'm going to activate this Xbox controller. There you go, one player. And then I have a second one. Okay, and activate this one as well. There you go. So this way now you can see the controllers that are currently connected to your PC and make them show up in your theme. So for those that weren't aware of using Gorilla's BB controls in order to do this, well, now that you're aware, and now you've got the ability to basically drag those controls or libraries into the external plugins, and via the use of user source you can reference them, and as you can see here, they're being displayed where I want them to be displayed. And the other thing too, because the user source in itself is a control, and if you decide that you want something visible within it, it will resize the contents based on your desktop resolution. So as you can see, I'm using 4K here, but if I were to change the resolution of my desktop to let's say 800 by 600, then that real estate that I've allocated for connected controllers will change, okay, based on the new resolution, or based on the target resolution. So yeah, it will change accordingly, just as any other UI element on screen will change. So as you can see, because I've added that piece of user source to every view, the connected controllers are still being displayed regardless of the view, in this case the game view that I had actually developed here. And there you go, there's our trusty Rust fallback on our UI element. So if I go into 3DO, there you go, it's showing the 3DO because it could find it. And then step out of that, it won't find arcade in that particular folder that I had specified, and therefore it defaulted to Rust. So yeah, so those are some of the fixes and enhancements that I put in over the past couple of weeks. I will start tackling the styling. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it made sense for me to actually tackle external plugins because it's using a similar method of nesting code or embedding code in the view. So yeah, I'll tackle styling next. All right, so anyway, that was something I just wanted to show off. Obviously the external plugins, I thought that would be you know, a major advantage, and you know, relatively easy to implement, and then ultimately reference. So so anyway, that will be it for, you know, for at least the next couple of weeks. It's going to take me a while to do the styles, but once I've got a working version and an example of how to do the styles, then I will either do a live stream or make up another video. So anyway, enjoy, and I'll put a new pre-alpha build of the editor out on the forum. Okay, thanks very much. See you in a few weeks.